Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Zakaria Ahmed Hassan and you're watching the Youth Show here live at somalicable.tv. This show is here to help, inspire and empower young Somali people to greatness. You can call in with your success stories, we would love to hear. Have you recently passed your GCSEs with flying colours? Have you had any university offers? We would love to hear that here at the Youth Show at somalicable.tv. Likewise, are you going through any problems that you'd like to talk about? Together, me and you and the rest of the Somali nation, we can have solutions to overcome these problems. magacayga waxaa la dhahaa Zakaria Ahmed Hassan Cawke la socda barnaamijka sabti walba 6 UK time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are watching the Youth Show here in London, live at Somali Cable TV. Today we'll inshallah be talking about the British legal system and how it affects the Somali youth today, as well as hearing some personal experiences. With us today, we have an esteemed guest, Osman Suleiman. Kusado Barnaamijka.
Assalamu alaikum.
Osman, what do you think about the legal system here and how it differs from other countries? Do you think that there's a difference in terms of leniency and, you know?
No, yeah, leniency, yes, but in other places, you know, look at the American justice system, for example. 3 strikes and you're out. Here, they don't have that. However, they have something like, have you heard of, what's it called, joint enterprise? For example, we're sitting, doing whatever, and someone over there is going to do something, and then we all will get locked up for it.
You know, you talked about joint arrest, and you talked also about America and their legal system. America's legal system is seen to be much harsher than UK's legal system. And also, you know, recent cases, there's been racism, but we don't have that here in the UK. So do you think maybe the UK are a bit too lenient with us, or do you think they're a bit too harsh, or they're the same? Because at the end of the day, you know, it affects our Somali youth here in the UK.
And basically, it's the same, but it's just, with Americans, it's more of a hard power. You see it, eye to eye. However, here in the UK, we're all under the, I'm your friend, we and say, I'm going to do this with you, I'm going to do that with you. But really, they're gonna try, snake you, in other words.
Yeah. So, you know, you see a lot of Danyarada Somaliyed. They don't have that sense of, you know, guidance, that mentoring, from a sense. You know, you also need that older figure. So, do you think one of the main reasons why Danyarada Somaliyed they enter prison is due to that lack of leadership? That's what they're missing, you know. So maybe from the Aba up to other anywhere.
Yes, that's something that's actually serious, and it's I have seen it with my own eyes, and there's a lot of people, especially younger than me, I've seen, or like when I was growing up, it was sort of a level. It used to be someone older than you, and then it was me, and then there was someone younger than me. Nowadays, there's no such thing. There's no someone who's gonna do, "Oh, what are you doing?" If they see you doing something naughty, you know. Back in the day, there used to be that stuff. It's not this much, same.
So, in essence, you know, what you're saying is respect ko jiri majura. So, Danyarada Somaliyed, they don't respect it enough. But then also, some will argue that Danyarada Somaliyed, what they're missing is the reason why they don't respect enough is because, you know, respect, as there's an English saying, is it goes 2 ways. So, to be respected, you have to give out respect, and you have to show why you should be respected. So I'm not essentially saying that you shouldn't show respect for the Diasha Kawain, but in essence, the Diasha Kawain Danyarada Somaliyed, they should show why they need to be respected. So do you think that's a part?
Yes, I agree with you fully there. And like you said about the respect, it goes both ways. And basically, when I was younger, everybody would be looking at me, "Hello, Akira, this little one." That's not really any respectful. Well, obviously, whatnot, but at the same time, there's a level. There's no level, there's no respect going either way. It's not looking around like Somalia, not Somalinimo way ka tageen because Somalinimo waxa ku jira a lot of sharaf and a lot of respect ku jirto and a lot of people have lost their way in that terms.
You know, when you say lost their ways with that term, is it because they're not in Somalia? And you know, it also brings me back to the first point, like they lost their ways, they lost their tradition, they lost their culture. But then what do you think the main reason is with that?
That's a lot of factors. We could go all night about these factors, but like basically, let me put a point to you. I don't know if you ask your parents when they first came here, and or like any of the Somali population or Europe jogi or America jogi, the first time Europe saw Glen, there's always one Somali person by alien. But I guess there was real Somali anymore. Well, so it doesn't matter about what qabila tahay, meesha ka timi. Somali ma tahay, warkaale meesha shaqadii ana ku geynay, warkaale ana waxaan ku caynay, xasan bay dhigi jireen. Hadda none of that. Waxaas ma jirto. Within dalba haysana, dawlad haysana.
So you say Somali Namo, is it because of the Somali Namo that we lost? That's the reason why a lot of our Danyara are entering the prisons of the UK. I mean, you go into any prison in the UK, you see a lot of Danyara Somalia. And to be honest, you know, for a fellow Somali, it's pretty heartbreaking to see your fellow brothers and sisters. You should be heartbroken for any Muslim, for anybody to enter the prisons. But to see your own country, your own Somali Nama inside that prison, and people are saying that they don't care because they're not from the same qabil or they're not from the same part of Somalia, or is it they're losing their Somali Nama in that way? So it's a sense of sharaf, so you don't want to be seen with that guy, that's why you're not going to help him.
I think it's more deeper than that. It's basically, you know, before all this, shall I say, hoopla about the Somali government so people literally gave up. They chose whatever country you're in and we see that where they just relaxed. But the original idea we then dalka waxaan ka baranayaa ama ciyaalkay waxaan ka baranayaan way shaqaysanayaan waa lacagaysanayaan and then dalkeena ku noqonayna wada lacag iyo experience kaas iyo xasuudan. That's what people forgot. And I reckon you should all not forget that point. That's the whole reason we came here. We didn't come here to best. That's it. How can I joke enough for the rest of our lives? It's not gonna work out. It does not make sense at all.
So in essence, you know, Dalinyada Somalia, what you're trying to say is that they're going off track because they don't have a mentor, or like, what's your personal opinion as to why Dalinyada Somalia they're going off track? So, because you know quite a lot about this way and how you go about it. So what do you think one of the main reasons, or if you can list it down into one main reason as to why Dalinyada Somalia, when you go into the prison, you see so many of them?
And basically, let me put it in the context of this is how Dalkan back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, the Asians, Jamaicans, and see how they've done so far. Look at the context. Asians, they're part of the fabric of this country. And they still, but at the same time, they relaxed, they were enjoying. Jamaicans, on the other hand, they couldn't went to the other side. From Africa, they basically and since then they are not moving forward. This feels like with a new batch of so it's all to do, you know how get to by bringing people into it. People that, you know, that are not adding nothing to the community and measure. So what's the point? That's why you're gonna put it in a ghetto.
You know, I understand you, Osman, but then also we can blame 100 people, we can blame 200 people, 1,000 people as to why our Danyara are in the prisons. But sometimes we need to look back to ourselves. So forget about the Diashakale, whether you're Asian, whether you're Jamaican, whether you're like you see sometimes أنا جنا سأرجع نويان الناس كفكرنا ندهنا why Danyara then يكون حجران قارش رياشة, why are they in حبسي, why are they doing this, why are they doing that, why is no one helping them essentially?
Like I said, that's a good question. That's وحوي متقنا. Like I said, it's to do with mentoring. قف جدك صح قوته سينا مجرته. They told you just relax, measure كده. And now I reckon we should the parents, the communities, so you might have a like a conference and find a sort of guideline on how to deal with عيالك. Some people don't know how to deal with their عيال. Some people they go over the top. You understand? We just need to find that leveling point between Youthshow and at the same time grow up and experience life. So I wouldn't say to parents عيالك قولك حري أحسن but work high and you know حكى أنت دتك كل مشغول سين سومالي وحكي دعاية قولوا وحكي دعاية موجودان.
You know, that's very true. You look outside your house, you see what's going on, you're quick to judge people, you're quick to judge what they're doing, but then inside your own house, he's going to say he's out with Sahib, but you don't know what he's doing, and again, that brings it down to mentoring. So, you know, we got one solution, which is we need more mentoring, we need more people of Somalia who have been through these kind of stuff, you know, to come out, what's good, what's bad. Because and you got that respect for them. You know, you'll respect what they say, you'll listen to it. But then if you have no respect whatsoever for the person that you're listening to, you won't bother as to what they're listening to.
That's true.
Osman, that brings me on to my second point, which was, you know, we hear a lot of stories as to people, how they changed. But we've got one sitting right in front of us today. Can you tell us a bit about your personal experiences with the British legal system? And how it helped you?
Well, it didn't help me much, but basically, just like Marco, what I said first, this is how my story begins. Basically, I grew up in an area where there's a lot of mothers that dance or not that used to try on Somali, and from there onwards, and you know, I asked my head how many times for GBH, ABH, dagal. Every time I did it, Louis Madeo, عليه دجال كله قلي قال حبسك صبح so basically and that's how it started off with me, and from there onwards it was basically every due to solicitor marka meesha lagu xiro for whatever crime he did, and due to solicitor waqtiga ku xiran wuxuu ku leeyahay qaado maxaa pleagan ama waxan qaado hadhow xabs marka ku jirtid qofku caawiyo ma jirto. Legal system is basically, especially at that mother time, and especially meel xaafadeeda ay waliba hadda Somali tahay buug lagu soo tuuraa material dhagax lagu soo tuuraa doesn't care, you understand? So in this legal system, it obviously I was the first time I went in there for was GBH. Marka 6 months later I came out. There's no qof ku caawinaya. There's no this, that, and other, you understand? And change, you know, changing is down to the person. If I didn't go through all that loops, and then through the courts and stressful times, I wouldn't have seen the bigger picture, because a lot of people focus on the smaller picture. So yeah. So
Osman, you know, you said there was no one there to help you, because in essence it's nafsi, and yes, carry on. But like I said before, we need a lot more people to help Adanya Somalia, and you know that's one of the main reasons why the youth show began, is to try and help and inspire Adanya Somalia. As always, Barnaamijka Youthshow Soo Saare, and anything else you would like to add to the show. Osman, another question I wanted to ask you was, how did it start and why did it start, and also how old were you when it started?
Basically, the way it started first time was basically I had a disagreement with a mother basically, and we got to do head away from me, you know, he saw me ducked out. Anyway, I know it's kahanaksen waarke. This guy after you tagi dagala squadi sahib the saawi we got fakadi. So and from that moment onwards it was just وقت حن بيهد. Anyway, ويلكاس وقت أصلا وقتي وحنا يهد بقرته. So him, he ended up getting beaten up badly, and from there, it just from that moment he asked me, I this and other good edit believe me, and you know that's one scary. Only with Somali in asked me to do it's not a healthy thing. So it was not good the first time. you know, it's an experience but never to forget.
That's so true. Also, you know, a lot of people, what they say is, he doesn't know anything. But in essence, you see a lot of people, but they are a lot smarter than you. For example, they might know what's going on that you don't know what's going on. So you've essentially been brought up in two different worlds. So Somalia, and each one faces their own different challenges. So those challenges in as of itself is something that only them can understand. So only when you've been through it, you can understand.
It's peer pressure there.
Yeah, so what do you know, say to Hoyasha Abaha Somalia who think Unago that is too young? What age do you think is too young, too old? When do you start?
Okay, what? To start what there?
To start, you know, a life of crime. You can say a life of crime, or you can
if you
say
put it like that, that's like I said, well, peer pressure. Then, for example, someone of the same age or even younger that person will be out doing whatever, and his parents will see that in a second. So, qofki kii guri ku jiray oo wiilkii waa miskiin ay daaqada ku boodo kiibu raacaya magaalada soo lugtana soo marinaya markaas guri goos dhaqanaya markaas la kiya meeshii fadhi warbaxa masxabada lagu leeyahay ninka magaalada inuu ka soo horeeyay. That's what I'm saying. Peer pressure waa dangerous. So nowadays with, you know, how it is with technology, حسن waxa loo baahan yahay 10 activities oo maalintii dhan waqti oo fariista wala hayn. So qof oo wax doonay ama saaxiib aad ma jirto if he's too tired. Like, I've seen this with my own cousin and the way they raise their kids now. And every day there's an activity going on. There's no time for, oh, can I go see my girlfriend or go see my mate? That's the school a new talent. Inta guru joogtid. Waxa guriga joogtay aan taysid seexatid asid. Hagartay intaas aday lagu wado. Mashallah, they're gonna come like you. However, the other ones,
you know, you can say that you can have a strict timetable. You can say, again, from lihda ila todobada, he's going to be doing this Quran warqsana. From todobada ila sideda, he's going to be doing maths, sideda wa sahana. But that as well, then he's going to think to himself, you know what, she doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me. So when I go to school, they'll think I'm at school. Like you say, I'm not going to go to school at all. You know what, I'm just going to bunk school, I'm going to go somewhere else. So too much pressure, too little pressure. What do you think is the middle line? Yeah.
That's the thing, the perfect niche that we cannot find. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how to exactly or too extreme look at them, but.
Assalamu alaikum. Maka hadi mesha kaso hadlisid?
Yes.
Hello? Assalamu alaikum.
Maka
hadi mesha kaso hadlisid?
Hello.
Hello?
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. مقا عادي ماشك سهل لسد. Unfortunately, that line got cut off. قد كان ونكبحين. You know, we were talking about the middle line. Where exactly do you classify the middle line? Where do you say the middle line is?
I've had a lot of people tell me this, but it needs a balance. Balance كحويان. There's a وقتي أو activity يشغلون وده سمينه. أجرت إن دا فراقير just go you got وحلو إيش اللي هو هذا for example دو غوري وصاحبك غوري سعادة يا غوري صاحبك هو يجوك just like you أما أبا أما أبير أما كذا whatever أجوك رأيك قفوين so between you two ما حدا عيا you just need to call each other and say okay ما يبحن إيش كهاي هذا ودو this and other it's a mutual beneficial. So عيالك مركز you can محلها فرحهم كل جرتي too much and keeping the time at the same time you're not مسيدين fully.
You know, we keep on talking about the middle line as well. You مسيدين said عندها كوهاي ماشو أذية قف كلها هدلية. But then also you said, you know, هوية ذا أباها بس لسه هدلي كران. So if he wants to go to his friend's house, he call his mom's friend and say, you know, where's my son, where's my daughter, where is she, where's he going? But not everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. ما قاعد ماشك سهل لسد. Hello. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست؟
أنا في مقلسة.
هاوكم مقلة. ألو السلام عليكم.
نورتوا وسلامتين لبدي نبو. أبغى نديكم هذين وحنا هاي أبو سوماليات. مركا.
أبتي سوماليات ماشك سهل ست؟
في عن خير هاي كنا.
جزاك الله خيرات وسلامة هاي.
سيدا دودي لكل إنسان عرورتا سوماليات كله. مركا سؤال شيء ويدين لها وحيتها. سام أرجلو عرورتا بدن أبيال هتان هاي. أباها هو يدا. أنت بدن هو يدي بعرورتا وده أبياش سوماليات كالين تارك ومقنت على النوع غير. مركا شرير كأباها عرورتا هدي لها جاجي وحنفل لها وح بدن. إن أي كبش الهاي إنه أن عروض السوق الجليسو لقبت هذه لها.
ها.
مركا عروضي إننا وعروضنا ماشى كله شيء طبعا كماشى كسوق التاني كماشى كجلو وعروضي وحصور كذا دو أبي هذا وراب السوق ماشى فريسو أما السوق أنت بدل وعزيزي هذا باك ما نهاي تشيكن ما نهاي ها أبا يكنترول عليه.
ها.
marka bal waxaan ku dhiirigelinayaa bal sidii aad barnaamijku usii wadagayno aabaha iyo waalidka iyo carruurta gaar ahaan aabaha iyo wiilasha si saaxiib u noqon lahaa oo saaxiib kale inuu yeelan
صح وما تين أبتي أكو سلام إن شاء الله أبتي Somalia he was talking about حريرك between ويلك iyo أبيهيسا what would you say to أبتي Somalia?
I agree with him completely. And that's what about more. A lot of أبوينكي حسب they just too much school on شقة and then مركز شقة كمان then if they even lucky وحيسكادين they're friends حسب but the best way to be friends with your child will كاي حسب وح أنا أسميه سيدوين محل especially football حسب top risk or important تيجا بالقول حديدا. So if I did football banter.
Hello, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشي سهل زد. Hello. Fortunately, خط كاسة مكاجو أي. You were saying حريرك between أباها يويلك. If I was to give my own opinion up to you, it'd be trust, you know, relationship وحكو بيود كرايا trust. So you literally base a relationship on trust. ودو ويلك هذا trust كرايا. إيه هذا أدي trust كرايا. There's gonna be حرير between you two. He's gonna trust you. نشأ إلسا أبا صاحبي على هذا. أبا هكا إلسا شقاء هذا. You know. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد ماشي كسهل لسد. هلو. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد ماشي كسهل لسد. هلو. ها واكم أخلاقتي. هلو. هلو. السلام عليكم. As I was saying, it was, you know, trust. So we could do trust grand. I didn't have that trust grand. And you know, Osman no had that. Hello, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. ما قاعد يمشك سهل لسد.
Hello.
Hello, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشك سهل لسد.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. حمد سؤال يا مستشفى.
مستشفى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعدة؟
هدان وحال يجري على عرفات الشرح من برنامج هدان أصيب ضد
ها واكم قلنا أبتي. هلا.
معناها حرير كون هي وارث كي أباها. برنامج كان أنا آدي عاوز يسجل ما دام بسنة اليوم.
ها واكم قلنا أبتي.
واحد قالوا حلو الحين هاي.
أبتي ها. Fortunately. You know, everyone that keeps on calling وحلقة هذا واردك. يا hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشك سهل سد. hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. hello السلام عليكم. ما قاعد يمشك سهل سد. hello
أكو ما قلنا ما أنا ما قشار.
hello
I don't think so.
hello
بيتيا كجوستي مع على لاين كده العكس ما إحنا ولا يا العكس يد ولا قاعني
every abo that calls hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد
hello
hello hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد hello
كان عارف عمل برا
hello
hello
connection needs to get stronger. We need to talk to someone here.
It puts a whole new meaning to it and I'll give you some air.
You know, everyone that calls, they keep on talking about the link between the father or the mother and وارد كمحولة سماني كرا قبديسة مثل ويلكيسة. But then also, hello, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد. Hello.
Hello, السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد. Hello, ها وكم أخلنا. Hello, ها وكم أخلنا. Hello, ها وكم أخلنا. السلام عليكم. Hello. نقصوا عليه رأينا يا فكرة دينا ونكسرنا يحضر لهذا برنامج كان دلني رضا. Also going back to my point, which was the link, you know, واردكم حول سمانك as he said. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد. ها السلام عليكم. ما قاعد يمشي سهل سد. ها ما قاعدة. زكريا سكو ما قاعد علينا هنا أبتي. ها ما شاء الله. أبتي وحقدر لهذا البرنامج كان دنيا رضا. الو السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أنا يومي بيرجلي وأنا كفر أحسنها.
جزاك الله خير.
برنامجك والله بانا المرة لكن وأقصد من عدد.
الو أبتي هداقة بس التلفزيون كهذا هدانا كحريرت التلفون كان إن شاء الله كونكشن كانوا في عنان هاد. الو الو أبتي ها أبتي الو أبتي ها وكم قلنا unfortunately خد كاس من كقاي
بنتي ما أنت أنا مشغولة ما أنت
زكريا أبتي زكريا وقت وصلنا هدارت إنه نقص علينا كرتا إن شاء الله. هلا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. قاعدين ماشي سهل سد. هلا ها
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعدين ماشي
هذا يا سلامي وريها يا زكريا هذا يا أبو فرح سمعي.
وأني السلام إن شاء الله. جزاك الله.
وأنا واحد أبغى أنت بالشبه. اسمع سليمان. سكن سوق الوضوء ما تعلنا يا جسمي مدي عاو مش تكون بلسان وحيرة يعني كده جسناي أنا كنا وحدنا مجاعية
ماشي سهل ست
مع مشاكل حبسية
ها
وأنا إذا مشاكل دولا
إن شاء الله
فرح سنة هاي وحن ربعنا ماشي نكسي ودان
إن شاء الله
إن شاء الله اسمان سليمان إن هو شيء دوات الأبوين سيد الأبوين تجلاه سيد الأبو سومري يوحيابها ومانتي كبير جرينا يدنيرها taas ayaan ku codsanayaa
insha Allah
anigana waxaan idinku waanin lahaa inaan barnaamijkan iyo barnaamij bulshada sugeysay oo Zakari amar walba soo diyaariso anigana aan ku soo gudbin doono
insha Allah Habier you know hello Habier raqam maqalna Habier Habier wuxuu weydiinaysa maxaa ku diyaargelin lahayd dhalinyarada Soomaaliyeed so what would you advise dhalinyarada Soomaaliyeed oo banaanka joogaan أو إنجليز كم سمال وبا الدنيا ذا جوجان صومالي هذي جوجان كندا مال وبا الدنيا ذا ما كنت أقول هذا.
One of the biggest things I have to say is basically Somali mother allowing dal done by Sana apparently don't know Sana so inshallah focus your time and energy towards that. Dalkan Europe كماشي جوكتيد بقى ماله أدونك dalka ما inshallah dalkinu وهايسنا inshallah أكو نقولنا أما at least work towards you know something that that you know makes dalkinu rise a lot big محايا قرتي هالكن وحمنو يالو اوكي دلكينا وحل بيالان so ان شاء الله هالكن attention كيني iyo energy كيني ina gaarsiino weeyaan marka ان شاء الله
so you know advice كالسين waxa weeyaan Soomaalinimo hello assalamu alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh magacaadi meesha ku soo hadlisad hello assalamu alaykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh hello ha أبتي هذا تلفزيون كذا جابني كتد أنا كحير كتد تلفون إن شاء الله connection كان وفعلا معه. هلو. ماشي كسهل سلابتي. عثمان عبد الله نيروبي كسهل لي أبتي ما حكوا دار لهذا البرنامج كان دلني هذا.
ay nakirtiin dhaqankooda ma garan
Soomaalina inaan dooman wax kale ma qodar lahayd barnaamijka dhalinyarada haa waa kuma qalnaa halo haa waa kuma qalnaa abti
waxaan ku talan lahaa in dhaqankooda ka tegin inay ka tegin in ay muxuu ahaayey aysan dhaqan kale ay baahan garan
ها هلا أبتي تلفزيون
أنا كنا حتى أشوف المكتب وأنتي الأوعى ولا بعمل ولا وحتى حتى مع حضرتك يمكن أن أحكي عن إن هذا الله كل إن شاء الله
إن شاء الله أبتي كسلامنا عن عثمان عبد الله كسهل لي نيروبي أبتي حكى هذا point كاني هذا which was Somalinimada على لوز كران هل كان ولا جوجا but like you know, you need to be thankful as well. You need to say thank you. Mesha joked, but Dawlad that joked, and I really gracious wayan, and I thank you dahdid wayan. Because already Deen Tano Hukaba in the land you live in abide by the rules, which was what we were talking about beforehand. So Somalinama in our lose gran wamid, but also thankful wamid kala. So if we keep those two in line, I think then the other Somaliyat will see less and less of them in Hapsiga on Gasha Yasha.
Also,
anything you'd like to add to that,
how we basically support a lot and there's a lot of brothers, especially Somalia nowadays, and I've said this before, major to community, major to Somali batay, wakala baskilo, magarate. Hada you just hada literally hada qof banaanka you work ano jaban oo dhiman raba Somalia. Before he would have took me out qaxayn lahaa muxuu tisla walaal maxaa ku magarate. Hada Somalia waa arkay meel saa u jiifo. Ariga qaxay bal u leeyahay magarate. Waxaas waxa u baahnay need more community. Dadkina la soo shaqeeyno hooyooyinka inta maxaa sheeko oo sheeko xariirka isku jirtiin iska gooyo waxaas ku mashquula ciyaalkiina dalkiina iyo dadkiina saddexdaas insha Allah meel fiican lagu toosismaya
when you're speaking about Osman it reminded me there's a stereotype which dhalinyarada Soomaaliyeed living in England as well we have is whenever you see hooyo mise aabo markay isla hadlayaan oo hede habyar mise eedo mise adeer la hadlayaan the talk straight away turns to politics don't get me started Somalia muxuu ka sameeyay soo wax la ka hadlaa shopping taskada rootay soo qaad but then it turns straight away to yesterday market parliament wax la ka sameeyay so you lose interest and instead of halkan adeegan tahay of course Somalia na ka fikirtay dayaan waa dalkaada waa meesha ku daratay but also you need to turn some of that attention back to Unagada, Mr. Gabadada, which is something we all need to take part in.
As I was saying about community, and one of the main proper things about community, and for example, let's say a family is the community they will not support it. They should. Somaliland, that's what it is. Community is very important. حتى Somali joogtay حتى and Somada ولما Somali كلنا دحدنا wax badan oo ka fiican aan faa'iideyna ka helayna daam xas ka shaqeyno
أبتيك سؤال لي مقدشة زكريا إسماعيل. هلا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مقعدي مشرف سادسة. هلو هذا تلفزيون كجابني كرتد هذا نكلا سعني كرتد تلفونك إن شاء الله كنكش كانوا فعلا لها.
عليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد مشك سهل ست. هلو تلفزيون كتا جابني كرتد إن شاء الله كنكش كانوا فعلا لها. ما فوش لي خط كاسمون كجاي.
بيتي أو ماشى حرام كويسته.
You know, moving back to the point where أبتي ذكري اسمعي ممكن هذه advice كحريرك. Hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما قاعد مشك سهل ست. Hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hello أبتي هذا جابني كرت التلفزيون كهذا إن شاء الله هذا نكرس عني كرت التلفون كه. Hello. Hello. رأيي فكرة دينا always واني كسجنا but also another reminder is هذا television كينا جايبني كرتان connection كان ونوفع عنها إن شاء الله. You know حركة كهذا لنا what you can do take part in more activities أقول ده لها أبتي. أنا قاعدة كوبد وعيارة you see every time كوبد مركز go to any football club إنجليز كذا جوكتد go to any football club وحركة دونتا أنا قاعدة أبوه ضد المجوجان لكن ما كأدك تدوير كصومالي ذا أو كوبد عياريو أبي اسمه أدك حتى مرة حركته هاي ذيسه but you don't see أبي سه أو أبها أو حريركاس but then also هاي always حكته هذا وحيان فرها مسمونه so always people you know they're going to be different so واش خيانة كرتها وحب ولا سمانة كرتها but we always talk about how can برنامج كان دانيالا that we always talk about the middle line كاسماء and إن شاء الله دانيالا الصومالية everything will be fine here at the youth show Osman we love to know solutions so what we can do to not have these young kids in prison hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست hello خد كاسنون كجاي hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته
hello
ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته
hello ها هذا تلفزيون كذا جابني كرتد إن شاء الله تلفون كذا نكشري كرتد hello hello always you know هذا another reminder تلفزيون كإن شاء الله هذا لقابيه هذا تلفون كنا نكسر حرير الكرة إن شاء الله كناش كانوا في عنان هاد hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست hello السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست
عليكم السلام
ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست
سكريا معاك عوكي.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته ما قاعد يمشك سهل ست أبتي
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بربرة ما قاعد أبتي
ذلك الصومالي.
أبتي ما قاعد أبتي هذا شيء كرتد إن شاء الله
ما قاعد يروح على رسائل عبد عبد ما قاعد يروح على رسائل عبد عبد الله
سؤاد عبدي
اسمه قشة
فؤاد إن شاء الله أبتي هذا تلفزيون كإن شاء الله هذا جابني كرتد نكال حرير كرتد تلفون كإن شاء الله ما حكوا صدر لهذا البرنامج كان يتني رضا قولك فضي قاعدة كبح كرتد إن شاء الله
إن الصومالي اللي قلت له واللي كل حاجات شوية وبتشوف الصومالي اللي قاعد قلت له
إن شاء الله
بعد الصومالي وخدكم كله وكبح يعديك يا أفكار عادين جليس تاني مكانه سكري أفكار قاعد بكوجا يعني
أبتي إن شاء الله يرو
مكان دولار الصومالي وكل دولار
إن شاء الله دلال أبتي
أنا بقدر نقدر
إن شاء الله
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله إن شاء الله
إيش دعاء إن شاء الله هذا عرفها سودو إن شاء الله إنه ويزح له كده هذا اللي هذا الصوماليات أو أفكار هذا الصومالي ده وادد أف صومالي good from you but then وحويان هذا هل كم كسر كرتد of course أنا بريتد ويان أف صومالي أنا بريتد أف إنجليز so لبضوا وبرانسا always excuse وحنوجد هذا اللي هذا الصوماليات وحويان you know أنا قبل حنا كده وليجنا مديال ما أذن Somalia. They never went to Somalia before. Like you see, وحال ربا إن لكو هذا fluent Somali.
صح.
But هو يذا أبا هو هالكن جوجين لبعض سنة وحالك كريوة إن لكو هذا lands English. So there's two factors up there. But you know, of course, إن على بعض بلكو دلالة ويان. And you need to try in both, inshallah. إن الدعاء لسكو سمايا. Up to Osman, we were moving on to our point, which was the solutions for Daniela Somalia, what we can do to have these solutions, inshallah.
Let's take a deep breath, man. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's go. Go.
What can we do to, you know, to have these solutions, inshallah, to overcome these problems, to stop our Daniela Somalia going into prison? Because that's what we love to do here at the Youth Show, have solutions, and inshallah, together, as Hal Ummah, we can all come together and overcome these problems.
Okay. Right. Like I was saying about activities, number one, activities that I could وقت مو هاي وحكي دون تاما ومالك دعوة ما قلت. Number two, certain حلا for example مركا واحد اسمه لما يحس جرتو like ما حويمي or something like that. You know, just get them in the loop. At the end of the day, I هالكن واحد ودوننا واحد كله because واحد حلا مجرتو. Something that keeps their mind occupied and their time occupied. So for example هذا في Somali say for example كويريا هذا أودرت مع Quran class just half an hour Somali class حسمون Somali قد برنا هاين at the same time they're off the road ما قلت inshallah that's one thing to do like community wise we can do that together ما قلت number two هلا like parents we need to give them a class for themselves. أيجينا وحنا برا ويان. مركا أيجا بقى وحنا برا لا شمية وحنا برا هذا أيجا مع قاعد يقع كجيران.
That's true. Sorry to cut you short, man. We only have a couple of minutes left. I just want to get this question out of the way. You know, the Diasha Somalia, everyone makes mistakes. You know, nobody's perfect at the end of the day. And when somebody makes a mistake, yeah, they serve their punishment. For example, هذا prison لقالو, هذا مال لقالو. So they're like a sonahania. So they're how are you gonna reintegrate in a way?
That's true.
So, Osman, you know, can you tell us like quickly 1 minute your personal experiences on that and how it challenged you and how you overcame those challenges, inshallah?
Basically, as all Somali people we all know, yeah, qof haduu jal galo kulli xaafad inuu wada ogaanayaan and they will treat them like a black sheep. That's something we need to stop doing. qofka uu mistake uu sameeyay jeelka uu galay jeelkan waa waqti dheer ba ku jiraysa maskaxda waxa ka fikirayay ma jirto apart from waxa khaladka sameeyay so qof oo khalad ku sameeyay soo maray already khaladkii maxaa lagu celinaya passing maxaa lagu soo celinaya aniga basically advice ga xawayaan community ga help the person wuxuu ahaa in the past if he's willing to change help them give them a platform to do something better with their life. Especially the Somali or professionals help brothers out. I think you made it somewhere in life. There's a brother out there. All he needs is the right contacts in the right places. And the same goes for people in Somalia as well.
That's very true.
Yeah, you're so dressing كده. ولا نقول دفتنا كده حكفت معه لكن the battle of Somalia was بدنا إن شاء الله.
That's very true. You know, in conclusion, Osman, I think what you're trying to say is marka qof la sii fogeeyo in essence waxa dirasa hadana inuu crime ku noqdo. So, you know, you're just going to lead them back. It's going to be that cycle all day. It's just going to be, you know,
chances
while you see Shayna, hoy mirotini la hado sho, ab morabini la hado, all cause, you know, sharaf. You know, let's try Ummah Somaliyad to move past sharaf. You know, qof kal mudalin. So it's your son, it's your daughter, you know, try help them out in a way. برنامجكنا دنيا inshallah soo gabagabayna waxaan mahad gaar ah u dariyaa martideena inshallah oo waqtigiisa qaaligan siiya waxaan mahad taas lamid ah u dariyaa ummada Soomaaliyeed oo nala socodeen barnaamijka dhalinyarada telefishinka caalamiga Somali Cable TV inshallah waxaan ka codsanayaa inay soo duceysaan ummada Soomaaliyeed oo dhan soo duceysaan maalmaha Carafa ku jira you know we're in the last 10 days tobanka beri oo ku qeyraysan ku dhex jirnaa so inshallah hadaan godan soo duceyna inshallah dhalinyarada Soomaaliyeed they're going to help us out until next time Eid wanaagsan wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sakaria Ahmed Hassan and you're watching the Youth Show here live at somalicable.tv.